You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again. Today, we have an awesome show lineup for y'all. Man, today we have an important topic that we're going to explore today. We're going to talk about living life fully alive. So, you're going to probably wondering, okay, what does that even mean? Well, our special guest today, he's going to help us explore that idea. He's an inner transformation coach, and he is doing amazing things in his community. His name is Troy Ismir. And, man, we're going to learn not just about what he's doing with his industry, but also why he left a six-figure job, man. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very fun, and hopefully it'll inspire you today. First and foremost, I just want to welcome you, Troy, to the show, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great today. It's an honor to be on your show, and I'm excited to share what it means to live life fully alive.
Man, thanks for taking time talking to us, man. So, Troy, give us a little backstory. I know before you started your coaching and all the great stuff, you had some things going for you pretty well. So give us a little backstory of who you are.
Yeah, from the outside in, I looked very successful, right? We define success as a six-figure job, married, 2 kids, the house, all the things, right? It just looked like I had just everything, just this amazing life. But there was this multiple problems, but I was living life in quiet desperation. And I was so unfulfilled, so unhappy. I was in a marriage that wasn't working. It was just a very unhealthy marriage. I was in a lucrative career in pharmaceutical sales, making 6 figures and got the company car, the 401k, the pension, all these things. But yet I was so unhappy and I didn't know my way out. I felt so trapped. I felt so hopeless. And I call that quiet desperation. And I started to slowly find my way out of that. And a couple things, went through a divorce. And as challenging as that was, I needed to do that for my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. I don't wish a divorce on anyone. But sometimes a divorce is the best thing that we can do for ourselves and for our kids. And I got a divorce. I left the pharmaceutical industry and started my own business and started to live life fully alive and discover who I truly am outside of what the world tells me who I'm supposed to be, my family, religion, all these things. And now I'm living a life. I'm more than ever where I feel fully alive. And it's just this feeling, this sensation that I can't wait to get up in the morning, even though I still have challenges. I know I'm doing what I'm meant to do, what I'm called to do. And that to me is living life fully alive.
And when you decided to make that jump and just kind of turn the page and I would say let go of your career, but move on from your career to what you really wanted to do in life.
Right.
That piece right there, what was that transitioning like? Were there times of healing? Was it time of just reflecting? What was that period like for you?
Well, first and foremost, it was scary as hell. That was the first thing. And just going from this safety and security of knowing I was going to get this paycheck. And so that was the first thing. I was scared, nervous, taking a risk. And when I would tell people I was quitting the pharmaceutical industry, the first thing they said was, wow, that takes courage. And I wish I could do that. And everybody can, if they so choose, they can leave a job where they feel unfulfilled. And I think for me, yes, it's been a lot of introspection. It's been a journey of learning who I am because I lost who I was as a man. I was emasculated in an unhealthy marriage. I was in an industry that was 95% extroverts, and I'm a deep introvert. So I was I had no idea who I was. So this journey, this exploration has really been about self-discovery. It's about getting back to my true nature. And I think I work specifically with men. I think most men lose who we are. We stop dreaming. We start to fit into the mold of what the world says we are supposed to be. And that's what these last 5 years have been for me is discovering who I am. And not only that, is learning to love who I am. And I've struggled with being really hard on myself, beating myself up, dare I say, self-hate. So I'm learning to love myself unconditionally. And I'm pretty sure I don't think I would have been able to do that if I was still in this unhealthy marriage, if I was still in the pharmaceutical industry. So it really comes down to allowing myself to explore who I truly am. And it's been hard. It's been challenging. It's been one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it's also been the most rewarding thing. And again, it's the theme of this show is living life that makes you feel fully alive. And I love this quote. It says, every man dies, but not every man lives fully alive. And that's what this life is all about.
Once again, listen to Refocus Radio, talking to our guest today, Troy Ismir. And when you started your coaching services, inner transformation coach, what is the process like when you are working with men specifically? And before day one, on day zero, what are some of the things that you're gathering to understand the person that is in seeking of your service?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's meeting the man exactly where they're at. And we're all on this journey and we're all in a different place in this journey. And ultimately for me, it ends up being a spiritual journey, but not everybody's ready to go there. So there's an understanding of every man that works with me, they ultimately know what's best for them. I just ask questions that help them to uncover their truth. And it's helping men to tap into their intuitive wisdom, again, that we've lost along the way. A lot of men have to overcome religious conditioning, social conditioning, family conditioning. We all do. And it's really helping them on this healing process. So every man is different. So my coaching looks different for every person that comes to me. And it's really this deep exploration of going inside, having somebody to walk beside them that is going to encourage them. I mean, we get so beat up in this world, especially in this day and age. Men get really beat up and we beat ourselves up. I beat myself up. So having another man in our corner where we can share our deepest, darkest secret without feeling shame and condemnation and guilt. Most men don't have that in their lives. Most men want to be vulnerable, just don't know how or don't have a safe place to do it. So I provide that environment where they can tell me anything. And we just go on this journey together. And it's really wonderful to see somebody that I've been working with for 3-4 years, where they started and where they're at now. And without somebody, a coach, a mentor, a therapist, a friend we truly trust, I don't think we can get to the place where we're living life fully alive. At least that hasn't been my experience. I've been working with a coach for 5 years, and I guarantee you, I would not be here today talking to you if I didn't have somebody to ask me the hard questions, to hold up a mirror to my blind spots, to encourage me when I'm feeling so discouraged. That's what my work is all about too, is really encouraging men, helping men to take a chance on themselves, get out, live life fully alive, to start to take those risks again that we used to do as kids, right? We used to take risks. We used to dream, and seeing it as already done. And that's when life gets to be a lot of fun.
And speaking of life being alive, fun, with the topic today, living life fully alive. It's just interesting what you were saying about like when we're kids. I think that's true. We are more open-minded to try new things and to explore. And then when we get older, if we're not careful, we can find ourselves kind of shrinking back, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
And with your website, you have like a sword underneath your name and spiritual warrior.
Yeah.
And tying that to living life fully alive, quote unquote alive. What does it mean to be a spiritual warrior?
Yeah, I have it tattooed on my arm. So obviously I believe in this work. And it's funny, the definition of spiritual warrior kind of changes for me from time to time. And it's really going on this introspective journey. It's really going inside, and it's doing the healing work, right? We kind of talked about a little bit of healing. We all have healing work to do, and it's not always fun, but we do this healing work so we can help other people heal. And it really starts with looking at ourselves, and it's easy not to. So to me, a spiritual warrior is willingness to go on this introspective journey, to heal, to help others heal, to ultimately go on this transcendent cause greater than ourselves, to share our story. And by coming on podcasts like this, if I can just share my story of quiet desperation, or the point where I was just sobbing in my car after I left a pharmaceutical meeting, just saying, I can't do this anymore. And now living my life, even though it is not perfect, I know what my purpose is when I get up in the morning. I know I'm helping other men find their purpose and to find what it means to live their life fully alive. I have this great schedule. Right before I got on this podcast, I was at the golf course practicing golf. It's one of my passions. It makes me feel fully alive. And I typically work with clients on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday are days of creativity. I'm a writer. I'm writing a book. I have a blog. I love to play golf. I'm a spiritual golf mentor too. I love to help men discover who they are through using golf as a platform. So I just make up job title, which is kind of fun. And it excites me. And really, I'm learning that the purpose of life is to feel good, to feel joy, to feel love, to feel appreciation, to have this freedom, to feel empowered from deep within ourselves, not looking outside of ourselves. And that's living life fully alive.
Sounds like a great lifestyle. And it sounds like you learn to engineer what you want to do in life. And what I mean by that is, I saw on your website you had like a list of we, and they're like statements. Mm. And one of them that stuck out is the responsibility of our thoughts, our words, our actions, and unwilling to shrink back and play small. And the reason why I use the word engineer the life you want to live is because you're in complete control of what you choose to do or not to do.
All right.
So for the audience, touch on that, man.
Yeah. Well, and as I'm learning and being on this journey, we have two options in life. We have the default life, which most people are living, and our created life. And I'm choosing to create the life that I want to live. And one of the things that I manifested, I was in Colorado. I lived in Orlando, Florida for 20 years. And then when I quit the pharmaceutical industry, I moved out to Colorado. I have family out there. I love the mountains. And recently moved back to Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. And one of my dreams is to work virtually, which I'm doing. One of the things that I saw happening is I would be able to spend part of the year seeing the sunrise over the ocean, which I'm currently experiencing, and then part of the time being in Colorado, enjoying the mountains and the hiking and the cycling and all these things that Colorado offers. And that's starting to happen. And I'm creating that. I'm creating that with my thoughts, seeing it as already done. And there's more and there's more and there's more. And now what I'm working on is creating this life of financial abundance that I had in pharmaceuticals, and there's more. So doing what I love, making more money than I was making in the pharmaceutical industry, so I can continue to live this amazing lifestyle. And it can happen. The only way it can happen is if we create it in our mind, if we can imagine it as already happening. And that's the work that I'm doing. And one thing that I've really learned on this journey, and I think most men are really good at this, because I was really good at this, is forcing things, making things happen, pushing, basically killing myself to try to be successful, as opposed to just allowing the universe to align things perfectly in alignment with who I am, and just be. And I'm seeing that happen when I just am open to receive. It's just so much easier and funner, and not killing myself in the process, taking the pressure off myself, and knowing that the abundance is already there. I just have to open up to receive it and believe that it's already been done. And that's a lot of the work that I'm doing right now. And it's fun and exciting. I can't wait to see how that shows up in my life.
We're talking to Troy Ismir here on I Refocus Radio. You can go visit his website, troyismir.com. And yeah, with everything you're saying and today's topic, living life fully alive, can't help to think, because I'm a visual person, like living life with the light switch on or off.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, just because you're quote unquote, living your purpose and your passion, right? You're talking about being able to be on the golf course and doing all these great things, but you're creating those moments and experiences. But with the light switch on, that means you still got responsibilities. You still got things you got to maintain, but you also are not limiting yourself of what is possible. With the light switch off, it's the opposite. You're shrinking back. You're not living life to the fullest.
Yeah, what I'm learning is that light switch off, call it darkness, call it the shadow. It helps us see the light, right? And the shadow, the darkness, the light turned off, shows me what I truly want. So just going through some financial stuff, you're right. I still have to pay these bills. I have this wonderful lifestyle, and it has shown me, like, okay, I'm living the life that I love. Now the shadow, the light being off, is this financial piece, right? This bringing in abundance with this light. And I'm unlimited. I have this power to create not only the lifestyle I want to live, but bringing that money in as well, so I can continue to do this. And we do need some periods of having that light switched off, because if the light is on all the time, we don't really see where the growth needs to happen, if that makes sense. And that's part of doing that healing work, right? Sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? Why did I make some of these choices that were really unhealthy? And a lot of times they're buried in our shadows, in our darkness. When the light switches off, and that healing work allows us to start to turn that light back on. It's kind of like that dimmer switch is going from completely off, and then it little less dim, and then gets a little lighter and a little lighter and a little lighter. And then we really step into who we are. And that's really unlimited and powerful, connected to our source energy, whatever you want to call that, God, spirit, whatever works for you. And that's where we truly get our power from. And that's our light source. And again, that's when life gets really, really fun. The realization that I don't have to do this life on my own. In fact, if I do, I'm going to be very limited. And like you said, shrink back, play small, all those things, which I've done a lot of my life. And I just busting through those barriers that we put on ourselves. It's just, those are all lies. They're all delusions.
And going back to the topic, which everything's falling through perfectly. living life fully alive. So someone listening to this right now, there's this guy out there listening to this, and they're like, you know what? I got a pretty good job, or I'm in business for myself. Things are good. But my problem is dealing when life hits those unexpected storms. With your experience, your personal experience, when life hits you unexpectedly, how does living life fully alive still continue to work for you?
Yeah, we all have those moments in our life where we get blindsided, so to speak. I played football in college, and being blindsided really sucks. It hurts, right? And I think what happens a lot of times is when we do get blindsided or the rug's pulled out from under us or something really bad happens, the typical response is to numb it and not to face it, whether it's through drugs or alcohol, workaholism, extramarital affair, pornography. And that's never going to solve the problem. So ideally, we're doing the work before we get blindsided, but it's really about going within. Meditation, silence, sitting still, whatever you want to call it, is going inside, listening to our own intuitive wisdom, and then having somebody to share it with, to talk through it with in a safe environment, and really facing these inner demons or the shadows or the darkness without having to numb it, because these things happen for a reason. These choices that we make happen for a reason. And the only way to overcome them is to really get to the root of the problem. And I do believe it starts with going within and then having somebody to talk through it with. And we have so much wisdom within us that we don't tap into, and getting still. And that's one of the things that's really transformed my life, is sitting still. You can call it meditation. You can call it centering prayer. You can call it listening to that inner still voice that we all have and we forget to listen to. So meditation for me is a non-negotiable. I'm a Qigong teacher. I practice Qigong every day, which is a moving meditation. It's an opportunity just to connect with the truth of who I am. And that's what I would suggest to every man, to start to do that. Maybe it starts with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then it gradually gets longer. And I think without this sitting still, listening to this intuitive wisdom that's built into us, listening to our higher self, who we truly are, uncovering that truth, that's when we start to heal, and that's when we start to live fully alive. And not too many men are on this journey, unfortunately. And I would love to see more men willing to go on this journey of becoming a spiritual warrior that we already are. And it starts with going inside, and then the next step is finding somebody to go on this journey with. And it's that simple. You got to start. It starts with one step. We just got to take one step today, and that's going within and then reaching out for help.
You're listening to Troy Ismir here on I'm Refocused Radio, and you can go visit his website, troyismir.com. And yeah, it starts with that starting point, whatever that is for the individual. And with Spiritual Warrior, tag that again. That's underneath your logo with your name in the short. When people, when guys out there are finding their truth, and seeing that reflection in the mirror, okay, this is where I'm really at, and this is where I need to go and want to go. But these are the steps I must take for that to become a reality.
Right.
When you are helping these guys on their journey, what's some of the principles that you try to give to them as they now start living this new life?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we are where we're at. And I think the first step is self-acceptance. Accept where we are in life right now and learning to love ourselves unconditionally where we're at right now. So many men are riddled with guilt and shame and self-condemnation. So I believe the first step is unconditional love for ourselves, self-compassion, self-nurturing, self-love, something that I have never done very well. And then it's slowly moving out of what I call quiet desperation. So we got one end of the spectrum, which is quiet desperation, powerlessness. And then we go all the way to the other end of the destination, which is what I call divine inspiration, or really stepping into our inner power. There's thousands of steps along the way, but if we can just take that next step towards feeling fully alive, whatever that is for that person, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey of perseverance. It's a journey of climbing the mountain. And it's really not about the destination. And I think this is really important for us to remember. It's not about a final destination, because we never get there. It's about who we're becoming in this process of climbing the mountain, or whatever analogy you want to use. So it's just that willingness to take that next step, even when you don't want to, even when you're tired and exhausted, and knowing that this journey that we call life, it's a short journey, it's a brief journey, and we are called to live our best life for ourselves first and foremost, and then it just spills over by who we're becoming with our family, our community, and we can become leaders that way, but it starts with ourselves and finding that inner power and inner strength, and really finding joy and happiness on our own. And that's the starting point. And you just got to start somewhere, and it can be overwhelming. And that's where I think having somebody to encourage us is so, so important, because it is overwhelming. It is sometimes we don't want to go on this journey, but having somebody to encourage us, me, when we don't want to do this work, is really, really important.
Oh, that's good stuff right there. And reminds me of what someone told me years ago on this podcast. A former military person, veteran, told me it's not about the starting date or the end date.
Yeah.
But it's about what you decide to do with that dash.
Yeah.
And everything you're saying is like, boom. Yeah. Like you can't skip 30 years from now. You got to live every hour of the day, every day of the month, every month of the year to get to those, future years to come. So I'm right on that with you, with taking that step that's necessary for that moment.
Yeah, it's very easy to become complacent in life. And we can live a good life, right? If I was still in pharmaceutical sales, it would be well over six figures. I would have a good life. Find a way to be happy. But it's about this excitement. It's about, and I guess that's a good question to ask yourself am I really excited about life? And I'm not talking about just watching a football game and you just get this little bit of a high or whatever. It's just like, am I excited? Can I not wait to get up in the morning? And when I was in pharmaceutical sales, as much as it was great at the time, it provided for my family, but I dreaded going to work. I was in quiet desperation. Like, I checked the box for 17 years and I don't check the box anymore. I get to do this. I get to work with men that I just love working with. I get to help golfers realize their true power on and off the golf course. I get to spend 2 hours in the morning reading and meditating and doing what fulfills me. I don't have to rush off to a 9-to-5 job. And it doesn't mean quitting your job. It could mean that. It doesn't mean getting divorced. It could mean that, but it means rediscovering who we are, finding this self-fulfillment deep within ourselves. That's what this journey, that's what that dash is all about. And I love that you brought it up, because most men live complacent lives. And there's so much more to life than that.
Man, if you're listening to this right now and you're ready to live your life to the fullest, man, it starts with you and what choices you make. So best choice you can make right now is go visit Troy's website, troyismir.com. Go ahead and find out about his coaching services. And if someone is listening right now, what's the best way that they can get in touch with you and begin that process to see if they're a good fit?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to talk with anybody who's willing to go on this journey. I do an initial 2-hour complimentary session. We do a deep dive just to experience what this work is all about. So email Troy at troyismir.com. That's the last name is spelled ISMIR.com. You can also go on my website and there's a contact form on there, and reach out and take that first step, and let's engage in a conversation that's really powerful and get this inner transformation started. So this is my passion. I love helping men become fully alive.
Once again, true honor talking to our guest today, Troy Ismir. You can go to his website. Once again, that's troyismir.com. Check out his coaching, his inner transformation coaching services, and also just check out his blog. He has a blog section where he writes articles as well. Also find him on social media, on Instagram. I want to say once again to you, Troy, thank you for taking time in your schedule talking to Army Focus Radio.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on here, and I honor the work that you're doing as well.